what would you do if someone's microwave is reporting as tripping their breaker when it's on?
With the microwave, there's actually a little more involved with it tripping the breaker. One of the main reasons that it will trip the breaker, ironically enough, it's the door switches. So every microwave typically has 3 different door switches. You'll notice when you open the door on a microwave, there's those little latches kind of sticking out of the door. So when that shuts, it activates the 3 switches. They're kind of like a built-in safety as well. So if one of those switches go bad, as soon as you shut the door, it's going to ground out the electricity and it's going to either trip an internal fuse or it's going to blow the breaker. So usually the first thing you want to look at is to access the door switches and take the wires off and just look at the terminals that the wires connect to. And a lot of times it's extremely obvious they're bad because they're just burnt up, just almost completely black. The second thing that can cause that is actually the door itself. So if the door is starting to sag or it kind of gets misaligned and it's worn out, when you shut the door, the switches need to activate at the same time. And so if you have it to where it kind of closes at a weird angle to where it activates one switch but not 2, that could also potentially trip the breaker. So you would be looking at a new door in that situation. Then finally, if you shut the door, you open the door, it's fine, the breaker doesn't trip until you actually turn it on, then you're looking at the high voltage section again with the addition of wanting to replace the transformer. So that repair with the high voltage section alone, you'd be looking at anywhere from, if you're ordering the parts, probably $75 to $200 just in parts. Adding the transformer is going to add another $100 to that. Unless it's built into something, it's usually that means it's time to replace a microwave.
Yeah, I guess with something smaller like a microwave compared to dishwashers and things, the repair versus just buy a new one ratio goes pretty far down. And is it in terms of the door and the door switches? I'm imagining they're at least pretty cheap compared to a newer model.
The door switches, fortunately, that component really hasn't changed since microwaves have been around. They're generally kind of built the same. And you can usually get sellers like on eBay and Amazon. A lot of times they will put in a kit to where they include all the switches you need if you put in your model number. So that's always really convenient. So whether it's a kit or whether you have to find your switches individually, those parts, they're $4 to $12 each. They're pretty cheap. A new door kind of varies. Doors are typically very easy to put on. Most microwave doors, like especially the over-the-range microwaves, when you open it up, there's a tab or there's something, a tab to be removed, where once you do that, you could literally just lift the door right off. So as far as easy repairs, that's typically the easiest to do. Mm-hmm. The doors range anywhere from about $70 to about $150. If the doors have the built-in controls like some of them do, those of course are more expensive because they're, you shut the door, you got the controls there. So yeah, that could range anywhere from probably $120 to $350 for that.
And I guess that the replacement cost will sort of be in respect to the cost of the actual microwave, so a cheaper microwave, cheaper door, etc. It's normally more of not a straightforward answer, but more of a direct repair for something tripping a circuit breaker than
Right.
more major appliances.
Yeah, for sure. And, to get to the door switches on most microwaves really aren't that difficult because you don't have to take down the microwave or anything. In most cases, all you've got to do is remove that vent up top, the same one to get to the filter. And once you do that, you'll see a screw where the user interface is. And once the screw's taken off, the user interface lifts up and comes out, you can see the door switches right there. It's kind of tricky to get to and to get your hands in, but it's definitely at least worth trying to find a YouTube video on a model similar to yours. And most likely, it's a repair that most folks may want to try to do themselves.